Your government has been lying to you about what really happened in 2020, and we've got the receipts. The evidence is finally coming to light. China was involved in a scheme to help Joe Biden win the 2020 election, but more so to help Donald Trump lose. And what we're going to talk about today might just shake your faith in everything you thought you knew about our electoral process. We're talking about a massive foreign interference operation that was covered up by the very people sworn to protect us. This is about the integrity of our elections and American democracy itself. Now, Christopher Wray's FBI knew all of this, and they covered it up. We'll break down the newly FBI declassified documents, expose the cover-up, and reveal how deep this conspiracy really goes. Let's get into it. Hey, guys, welcome back to the channel. Look, do me a favor. Check out our live stream tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern. We're going to talk about a lot of news stories that caught my attention during the week, but we didn't have time to do videos on them. We're going to give it a bit of humor, a dash of sarcasm, and a whole lot of conservative common sense. You're going to like it. All right, now let's talk about what just dropped this week. FBI Director Kash Patel just declassified some documents that are going to blow your mind. And I mean that literally. This stuff is so outrageous that if someone told you this was happening in a movie, you'd say it was just too far-fetched. Former FBI Director Christopher Wray knew that the Chinese, the Communist Chinese Party, had a scheme to add fake votes in 2020. Now think about that for a second. The guy who was supposed to be protecting our elections knew about foreign interference and did exactly what? Here's where it gets salty at best. FBI Director Kash Patel announced on Monday that the FBI has located documents that detail alarming allegations about China's scheme to add fake votes to the total count to help a Democrat who was a beneficiary who profited from Hunter Biden's selling of access to Joe Biden. Now, Patel tweeted, the FBI has located documents which detail alarming allegations related to the 2020 U.S. election, including allegations of interference by the CCP. I have immediately declassified the material and turned the documents over to the chairman, Grassley, for further review. Now, guys, we will never know if China actually helped Joe win. And our do-nothing Congress certainly will once again do nothing, because that's what they do best. Absolutely nothing when it comes to holding anyone accountable. So the information was disregarded by the FBI in August 2020. Let me repeat that. They had this information in August of 2020 before the election, and they said they just ignored it, swept it under the rug like yesterday's newspaper. From Just the News, quote, the newly declassified intelligence reports from August 2020 weren't corroborated or fully investigated and instead were recalled from intelligence agencies at about the time that then FBI Director Christopher Wray testified there were no known plots of foreign interference ahead of the 2020 election in which Biden defeated Donald Trump, officials told Just the News. So let me get this straight. Wray goes before Congress, raises his right hand, swears to tell the truth, and says there are no known plots of foreign interference. Meanwhile, he's sitting on documents that detail exactly that kind of election interference. Now, what do you call that? Because where I come from, we have a word for that, and it rhymes with perjury. But the rabbit hole just got even deeper than you think. The new documents were turned over to Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, who has always been a hawk on government corruption. He first raised concerns to the FBI about the intelligence not being fully vested, and instead they just dismissed him, even though there was evidence of the fake licenses, fake driver's licenses. People, we're talking about the CCP manufacturing American fake driver's licenses to facilitate fraudulent mail-in ballots. Patel told Just the News, quote, thanks to the oversight work and partnership with Chairman Grassley, the FBI continues to provide unprecedented transparency at the People's Bureau. To that end, we have located documents Chairman Grassley requested, which detail alarming allegations related to the 2020 U.S. election. Specifically, these include allegations of plans from the CCP to manufacture fake driver's licenses and ship them into the United States for the purpose of facilitating fraudulent mail-in ballots. Allegations which, while substantiated, were abruptly recalled and never disclosed to the public. Oh, abruptly recalled and never disclosed to the public. Now think about those words for a minute. They had evidence of a foreign government's plot to interfere in our election. And because it wasn't for their guy, they recalled it and hid it from the American people. The same American people who had a right to know that our election integrity was under attack. These are the same people, guys, who told us ad nauseum that Donald Trump was involved in Russian collusion and that it was a threat to our democracy. Remember all that crap? And now they had evidence of a foreign country, worse than Russia, China, communist China, and they just dismissed it. And if you think China was the only player in the game, think again. As the Gateway pundit previously reported, Chris Wray knew that the Iranians breached the election system in 2020 and stole 100,000 identities. And Wray hid this from the American public as well. 100,000 identities, guys. That's not a rounding error. Seriously, that's a massive security breach that could have affected the outcome of an election. So the Iranians were also involved, but Chris Wray lied when he testified before Congress when he said that there was no evidence of any foreign countries that were conducting voter fraud. Will he be charged with perjury? Of course he won't. Because there's one set of rules for the establishment and a whole other set of rules for the rest of us. Guess who has the better rules? And here's what really happened. According to the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they published a joint cybersecurity advisory warning that Iranian advanced persistent threat actors are likely intent on influencing and interfering with the U.S. elections to sow discord among voters and undermine public confidence in the U.S. electoral process. Well, there you go. So they knew. They absolutely knew that Iran was trying to interfere in our election to sow discord among voters and undermine public confidence in the U.S. electoral process. That's what they wrote. We didn't write it. They wrote it. And what did they do with that information? They buried it deeper than Jimmy Hoffa. But here's the part that should make your blood burn. APT actors are creating fictitious media sites and spoofing legitimate media sites to spread anti-American propaganda and misinformation about voter suppression. They were creating fake news sites to spread misinformation about our election. And our FBI knew about it and said nothing to the American people. Do you remember when Russia supposedly purchased like $100,000 worth of Facebook ads? Oh, they made the biggest deal about that. The report continues. The attached flash contains a list of indicators of compromise and additional threat information pertaining to a threat group assessed to be located in Iran, conducting operations aimed at influencing and interfering in the 2020 U.S. presidential election. So let me ask you this. If foreign countries were actively working to interfere in our election, manufacturing fake IDs, breaching our systems, stealing identities, and creating fake news sites, and our FBI knew all about all of this, why weren't we told? Why did Chris Wray go before Congress and lie under oath? And more importantly, what does this say about the integrity of the 2020 election, the most pristine election in our history, they told us? Look, I'm not saying the election was stolen. What I'm saying is that we had foreign adversaries actively working to undermine our election process, our democracy, if you will. And the people whose job it was to protect us decided to cover it up instead. That should concern every American, regardless of your political affiliation. And they did this because they all wanted to see Donald Trump go. But you know what's going to happen now? The same thing that always happens. There will be hearings. Politicians will grandstand. The Democrats will defend them. They'll make stern faces for the camera, and then nothing. No one will be held accountable. No one will go to prison. And we'll all just move on to the next scandal while the American people continue to lose faith in their institutions. Because that's how the swamp works. They protect their own, and they leave the rest of us to figure out what's real and what isn't. So here's the bottom line, guys. We deserve better than a government that hides foreign interference from its own people. We deserve better than FBI directors who lie under oath. We deserve better than a system that protects the powerful while leaving regular Americans in the dark. But here's the bright side. The truth has a way of coming out. It always does. Thanks to people like Kash Patel and Senator Chuck Grassley, we're finally getting some answers. The documents have been declassified. The evidence is out there. And maybe, just maybe, this time things could be different. Maybe this time someone will actually be held accountable. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. The American people deserve nothing less than the full truth. We're not going to stop fighting until we get it. All right. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.